Welcome Between Two Wheels, bringing you motorcycle news and entertainment somewhat weekly. I'm your host, Johnny Douchebag Roadblock. Thank you, Sherry. With me this Wednesday evening is Uncle Ken, maybe Justin Bird. I don't know. We haven't heard from him, so I don't know where he's at. But yeah, I'm not in the mood for nicknames tonight. So
Are you as tired as me?
last week, I was providing what I felt was a very sincere apology to two folks, and some viewer commented that we were douchebags. And, here's the thing, Sherry Bohannon, uh, we are inclusive here at Between Two Wheels. We believe that all people, no matter their race or sexual preference, have equal rights to enjoy riding motorcycles or even trailering them. And since you seem to have an issue with people of color and people who follow their heart instead of the social norms, we are glad you have decided to unsubscribe. I would say I would normally not call someone out, but, it's just one of those things. And Uncle Ken, you tried to reply, and I don't know why, but for some reason the YouTube censorship took over, and your comment couldn't even go in. I mean, you put a lot of heart and soul into your response.
Oh yeah, I had to make 3 revisions before YouTube would accept it.
It did seem a little watered down, Uncle Blunt Force Trauma to the Face Ken. It was kind of like Blunt Force Trauma Ken.
Is Justin there yet?
Yeah, he just got here. Hey,
Hey,
buddy.
hey.
But no, something else kind of bummed me out this week. Other than Motorcycle Mick and I been playing some Call of Duty. Would love for you guys to join. So
I never got a fucking invite, so
invite
I
is
didn't.
there.
But if I don't know you're on, then I can't.
You can't see
You
that
know.
we're on.
No, I turn all that shit off. Otherwise, I'd have dozens of freaking things popping up on my screen.
Oh, uh, I was looking at Google over this past week. I do it pretty much daily. But this time I was looking at Google News for the keyword motorcycle. That's all I was doing. Keyword motorcycle. And the first 2 pages of results was all about motorcycle crashes. One of the stories that stood out was a drunk driver killing 3 and injuring 9 bikers. One bastard ruined 12 plus people's lives.
Oh
But
yeah.
nonetheless, after about 5 pages of crash articles, the majority of the crashes scared me. When you're going through and you're reading, oh, the cause of this, the cause of that, I saw that most of these crashes were actually the biker's fault. And I went in and I haven't had a client for the past couple of weeks, so it's kind of great. I've been able to do a lot of research.
Is that what we're calling them nowadays? Clients?
Yeah, Tricks and Johns, you're not allowed to call them that anymore. It's very politically correct these days.
Oh yeah.
Hey, you got to make money somehow. $20 is $20. But I started analyzing these news articles. And again, it's the media, so you take what you can as truth. But not paying attention was the most common theme behind all of these crashes. But I'm just going to talk about a few here because they're funny when you think about it as a motorcycle enthusiast. Passing a vehicle and hitting the oncoming traffic.
Well, that's a special kind of stupid right there.
That one. What hurt me about that particular article is the rider escaped with injuries, The passenger was killed, and it was a child. Well, a minor under the age of 18. The next one, speeding and then losing control of the bike. Primarily, a lot of this was weather related or pulling a yammy noob. But the one that did it for me, I laughed. I read this story on 3 different news articles. Is great. Running a red light and T-boning a semi truck.
How the fuck you T-bone a semi truck?
How do you not see a 72-foot long, 13-foot tall semi truck?
Not paying attention. We already covered this. This is a test, right?
Yeah, and you passed, sir. But remember, speed doesn't kill you. It's the sudden stop that does. Now,
Oh yeah.
please pay attention to your surroundings and keep speeding to the right places, the right locations, like the highway, industrial parks, or twisty mountain roads with amazing overlooks of the Pacific Ocean. Okay, I was watching a lot of California videos.
So of course, my 38-year-old ass is on TikTok, and I came across one, and they were showing off a helmet that they had just gotten. I read the caption. It was like, this is what it looked like 2 days ago, before the wreck. And it was a couple. They just this last week, 2 weeks ago, they went down on the Three Sisters, and not in a fun way.
Oh, okay. Thank you for clarifying.
But yeah, nobody died, just bumps and bruises, scrapes, fucked up vehicles. But I haven't got the whole story yet, so I don't know if they fucked up and went down, or if somebody else fucked up and they ended up going down, or what. But yeah, I mean, like, it's all over the place, and usually it's not paying attention.
So the one that I started with took place up in the hill country here, just west of San Antonio. 12 people were in the accident, plus the driver, but three riders were killed and 9 were critically injured. And these were all part of the Thin Blue Line Motorcycle Club. And if y'all don't understand what that is a law enforcement motorcycle club. I don't know all the rules to be in it, but I believe you have to be a cop. And the media is keying in on the fact that the driver was an illegal alien, was not in the country legally. Now, we all know my opinions on our immigration system, but what I took from that is, in the article, they're talking about how he's had run-ins with the cops in the past, and ICE, the Immigration and Customs Enforcement, those folks have had interactions with this man in the past. He's committed crimes. Aggravated assault, I believe, was one of them, and another drunken incident. Anyway, I mean, enough to at least key up some red flags. But how is it that they focus on the fact that he's here illegally and not on the fact that the system did not see a criminal who is in our country illegally as a high enough priority to deport?
Well, and not even the immigration side of it, just the fact that he's had all those interactions with the police. I mean, that's state level stuff. I mean, where it was, one of them was of course, well, now the DUI. He had another DUI, and didn't he have a fleeing to elude as well?
Something like that. I
mean, most of them were felonies, and I'm sure he's got, traffic tickets and shit like that.
It goes to the fact that as a motorcycle rider, we know as soon as we take the class, we get our license, we get our first bike, we know that we are at a high risk. But do you ever consider, I mean, I'm sure we do because of experience, but as a new rider, do you ever consider having to keep your head on a swivel because a drunk driver is going to cut across a highway and hit you?
I mean, when I'm out riding, whether I'm by myself or with you guys, my main concern, I mean, if it's just us, my main concern is, anybody around us not using a signal, maybe pulling out an intersection. But no, you never think of someone being drunk and crossing center, when you normally probably wouldn't cross center, even if I mean, kind of like on curvy roads, you expect people, if it's a blind corner, you expect people to be crossing center when you're going through that curve.
Right. But if you look at yourself, Justin, myself, Tracy, the OGs, we have thousands of miles behind us on motorcycles. We've been through the texting and driving and the DUIs and all of that stuff. We've seen it. But as a new rider, it just seems like people don't pay attention for that.
Well, I mean, no, I mean, you never think about. I only think about drunk drivers when it's late at night.
Yeah, and this happened at 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah, see, and I was going to say, I really don't start thinking about that until like after 6, 7, or 8 o'clock in the evening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and I worked at a bar, so I mean, I was getting off work and heading home at 2:30 every night.
Yeah.
And I mean, that was usually my top thing. And I saw tons of them on the road. Can't stay in their lane. I had 2 instances of cars on driving the wrong direction on the wrong side of the highway. That's fucking real exciting, by the way. But yeah, I mean, during the day, you don't think of that stuff. At least I don't.
And then reading on some of the articles, they talk about the witnesses at the scene of the incidents, and people are just standing around watching, doing nothing at all. And
there's a name for that.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say that's what brings up the topic for tonight. But go ahead with the name: the rubbernecker, the gawker, or I'm sure you have a little bit better one.
No, the people that are just standing around doing nothing. Mm-hmm. That's called it's called the bystander effect.
Mm-hmm.
It's an actual thing because everyone there thinks somebody else is going to do something. So that's why if there's ever an accident, you need 911, you point directly at someone, and make visual contact with them and say, you call 911, you go get a blanket out of that car, whatever.
Yeah.
Because everybody thinks everybody else is going to do it.
Exactly. Yeah. Someone's going to dial 911, obviously, or something like that. It's just, I don't know. Justin, any thoughts?
None that you guys haven't already brought up.
All right. So what are we to do when it comes to accidents? Well, we could watch a bunch of Dan videos. We could do a ton of research on the line and read a bunch of articles about safety. Or you can listen to us who have done both of these for you. But in reality, go out and ride. There's no replacement for experience. Some of you motorheads are thinking I was going to say displacement there, but no, it really comes down to seat time and experiencing, like Dallas. Fuck Dallas. But yeah. Riding in traffic in Dallas, riding in rush hour traffic in any large town, large city. You need to fix a situation, Ken? I hear the alarm. But at the end of the day, we all need to know how to handle ourselves. So let's go through how to react, or at least how we react to some common accident situations. Okay. Crashing into another vehicle when it's your fault. What type of reactions, what types of things should people be concerned about.
All right, take it away, Justin.
Well, I guess that does fall under my category. If you're me, you go and stand in the middle of the lane of an active highway for no reason. That's what I did. I will never claim to be the person to be following or trusting when it comes to an accident. So whatever I say in these, just do the opposite.
All right, Ken, when it's your fault.
Well, I generally don't have accidents. As a matter of fact, I've had one accident in my life that's been my fault.
Okay.
So
Well, you suck, so I'll go through it.
I mean, I know you've been in more accidents than both me and Justin combined. So
Number one thing you do when it's your fault, never claim it's your fault. Ever. That's the first thing. It's never your fault.
you got to shift blame, right?
Exactly. Also, check on yourself, make sure that nothing happened to you, and make sure that the people that were also involved in the accident, not the people you hit, the other people that were involved in the accident, make sure they're okay. Kind of just use common sense here, but never claim fault, and always call the police. Always.
Even if you're in a parking lot.
Yeah. And if they say we do not respond to private property, here's what you say. I believe I smelled alcohol. That's all you say. Now they have to come. I see a baby bump. Wait, what's on her shirt?
Flowers.
Oh, it looked like Hasso's face.
Yeah, I want the stuff that you got. Why are you putting it?
But definitely call the police, get them out there, because the police report is going to be your saving grace. Anytime you don't have one, it's you versus them, and you really don't want insurance adjusters trying to figure out who to blame, because it's a nightmare, and you're always going to end up getting screwed. Now, being crashed into by someone else.
Lord help. Lord help them.
Do what I did when Justin booped me. Don't jump to conclusions. If it happens from behind and you don't know what happened, one, it was a hell of a party. But two, make sure that they're okay. When Justin rear-ended me, I made sure I was okay. I got off the bike and I made sure he was okay, because for me, in my mind, I'm thinking he probably had a seizure or something, because no one at his skill level would just rear end me
From a stop.
Yes, right.
But that's what was going through my mind. I mean, I knew he wasn't drunk and I knew he wasn't high. We'd been hanging out that entire day. So I was thinking medical. Maybe something was going on in his head. I mean, he is a ginger, so there's a lot of shit happening up there. But
Everything except the soul.
exactly. But clear the scene. If you can move your stuff out of the way, get it out of the way.
Yeah, that's state law in a lot of places.
It
If you can
is.
move the vehicle off the road, move it off the road. I mean, what are you going to do? Damage it more?
Exactly.
I mean,
and at that point, I mean, who cares?
yeah.
But
No,
also,
you definitely handled it a lot better than I would.
yeah, like we said that day, of all the people there that he could have hit, I was the best option, because I wasn't going to sue him.
Maybe Brad, just because the hit wouldn't have been as devastating, because it felt like I hit a fucking brick wall. So having because he was still, I believe he was still in a Sportster at that time. It would have a whole lot less mass that I ran into. So
you'd have hit his tire at that point.
Yeah, that wouldn't have been fun.
Yeah. No, I mean, look, I wouldn't throw hands with you guys, but the first words out of my mouth aren't going to be nice.
But you have to understand too, I've had that, not the exact experience, but pretty damn close. It was, a matte colored street bob that hit me from behind.
Man,
and honestly, at the time, both people were gingers.
Mine wasn't matte though.
Correct. Did you have the? Was it black at that time still? Okay.
Yeah.
So the other person who hit me was riding a matte black, or the black denim. So again, looking at skill level and everything, just pay attention and try not to be a dick. And when someone hits you, because you never know what the situation is. I want to talk about laying your bike down, and this came up last week on Motorcycle Mix live stream. When should you lay your bike down?
How about never?
Ugh.
I mean, look, I would say there are few and far between instances where I can think where it would benefit you to lay your bike down. Because for one, most people don't know how to properly do it. They just try to throw their bike on the ground. And when you lay down, you're trying to do a low side, A lot of people probably can't do that. So I mean, outside of movies, sliding under a semi
and then popping back up to ride it out.
Yeah. And that's the only acceptable way. You really need to be laying your bike down.
So, fun fact, and a lot of folks did not realize this, but when you put your bike down to avoid an accident and your bike hits a car, you're at fault. And there's a lot of tickets that a cop could write you. So if you do decide to lay your bike down for whatever reason, which you shouldn't ever have one, never tell the cops that you were doing it to avoid an accident. Just don't say anything, because you don't want to get hit with reckless endangerment, purposely losing control of the vehicle, whatever your state calls it. I mean, it's some stupid shit out there, and you can get your ass sued. But yeah, never lay your bike down.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, really, the same thing goes in your car. It's like, I don't swerve to miss someone. I'm going to hit them because I don't know who's next to me in those split seconds. And also, if I miss them and I hit someone else, then I'm at fault.
Yeah. Now, I've been quickly glancing at the comments, and there's a very common theme that I'm seeing outside of the trash talking is cameras. And we are going to get to that, because having some type of dash camera or some type of helmet cam today is imperative. Because with all the stupid things happening out there, you don't want to be in a situation where it's your word versus theirs, and they could afford a better attorney.
Well,
video solves that.
Even not having a better attorney, just having to deal with that in general. I mean, y'all know that's what we had to do when Faith got hit. There were no cameras, so it was their words against the insurance companies, and then there was a fake witness who said that Faith was doing all this wild shit, and that was over a year dealing with just that part of it.
Yeah. I don't know. It's crazy. Losing control of your bike. Now, I've actually had this happen to me. First time I ever rode a Harley. I lost control of it and went into a big ass sand dune in Bahrain. So it happens. But how to deal with that, how to react to it. First things first, if you don't have a newer bike, or if your bike doesn't turn off for some reason, as soon as you're able to get to your bike, make sure it's turned off. everything's turned off. If you're able to move the bike or able to pick it back up and move it, do so. But your reaction to loose gravel, sand, slick pavement, it's going to be what you do right before you get on it that's going to have the greatest effect. You know, don't hit your brakes. Don't do any wild movements. I mean, I think the best person to really go over this would be Justin, because of the type of riding you're doing on the dirt and having to avoid obstacles and knowing when to power on, when to properly lay off power, when to apply the brakes, when to downshift, all that type of stuff. You know, can you elaborate some on that?
So it doesn't translate one to one, but the principles of everything are still there. I've recently found out, now that I've gotten back into riding dirt pretty seriously and putting a lot of time and effort into getting better, is that you don't really ride dirt bikes. They fall in style. You're just kind of that monkey in the middle that's keeping it from falling over. That's really all you're doing. Mm-hmm. It's such a different experience from riding street bikes. And I think one good example of that is when we took that 2-mile dirt road in Terlingua. I mean, you guys hopped on that with zero to little to almost no off-road experience. Sure. And I remember, like, one of the tips I gave you guys is you got to let the bike go where it wants to go and just try to pick a spot and go for that. You're not really going to be in control 100% of the time. Yeah. And I think that is, I think that's really important. Like you said, what you do right before it. So if you try to get in control right before you hit it, you're going to lose every time. You have to let the bike take control and then slowly input what you want to do to it until it starts reacting like you want it to.
Yeah, yep. That's what it comes down to. And that's where a lot of the time just knowing your bike comes in handy. And people, you know, back in the clubs and everything, they would give me grief because I'd go to motorcycle practice. You know, Trace and I, we would go up there weekly and just to practice the stupid little basic skills. Because I think that's what all of us tend to forget about. You know, just weaving some cones. You'd be surprised that after a couple of weeks of just weaving cones, how much deeper your leans are, how much more control you have, being able to just look at where you want your front tire to be when you come out, and it's there. It's just the little basic building blocks. If we go out and we practice these things, you'll have the confidence you need to do a quick maneuver to get out of a situation, or you're in a deep turn and the roads are slick. You already know how to handle the bike and maneuver it.
It's all muscle memory at that point. You don't even have to do it. You just do it.
Yeah, you reach your thumb up and you hit the rain button.
I wanted to point out Toby Northern's comment. Yeah. Said, watch out for tar snakes in the road where they repair the pavement. There was a time that me and Uncle Ken were cruising through our neighborhood at a pretty decent pace and hit one of those, and we both lost about 6 inches of traction real fast.
Yep, and about 6 inches of seat went with it.
Yep, it was those get slick real fast when it gets hot.
Yeah, when it gets hot, or if it gets raining outside, or just the humidity can get you a little squirrely on that.
Yeah, and I've been riding for a while, and I mean, I knew what tar snakes were. I've driven over them before, but that was the first instance where I ever lost any traction, was when Justin and I were together.
Yeah, it's not fun out there. So let's talk about some avoidance tips. How to avoid getting into an accident in the first place. Running a stoplight. It's sad that I have to put this one on the very top of the list, but people, it's 2020. And unless you're coming from a country that has a new driving culture, China, India, some other of the Asian countries, and some of the African countries, understand that you don't blow through a red light ever, especially when you have a freaking 72-foot long 18-wheeler in front of you.
Unless
you're not going to win.
Unless you're Mark Marquez and can slide that bitch under there and hop back up on 2 wheels.
get under there, then pop. Yeah.
So,
sorry, we can't have a motorcycle podcast and not bring up that fucking crash. Did y'all see that shit?
I didn't see it. I read the article because that was actually in those first 2 pages.
This dude was in like second or third place, low sides the bike, goes down his elbow, pops the bike back up, goes into the gravel trap at over 70 miles an hour, somehow doesn't go down, accelerates out of the gravel track, drops down to 16th, and then fights his way back up to second, and then crashes on the same turn with 4 laps to go. You're on mute, Ken. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. This was what, like 3 days ago?
Yeah, it was this weekend. One of the best saves I have ever seen. To go in the gravel on a sport bike.
All right, I'm watching it right now.
In gravel.
Ooh.
So,
oh shit.
Passing on 2-lane roads. I don't know how you hit oncoming traffic, but
like you said, you got to be a special kind of stupid.
Look, I get it. You get stuck behind that slow person. You know, here in the San Antonio area, we have, US 281 going straight up north. You have a lot of areas where you have really slow people. They don't understand that it's a highway and you can do 70. So I've had to pass. Well, I say had. I chose to pass on double yellows, but I would do them in the areas where I could at least see well ahead of traffic.
I mean, and look, we do that. It's another one of those calculated risk things. But usually we're all on comms. So if we can get one person up there, then we can call it out and say, okay, there's no one coming. Come on around.
Yep.
Also, that video is fucking insane.
Right?
It's real. The him going down is real subtle, but you can see the recovery.
Yeah.
And wow.
the way that he goes in and like he almost never lets off the throttle. Like as soon as he's in the gravel, he's back on the throttle. On a MotoGP bike riding through the gravel.
Yeah.
Those guys, I don't see those guys selling those bikes. I really don't. With as big as clanking balls as they got between their legs.
Most of the time they're not even sitting. They're just kind of hovering.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it could be because the cojones.
They're getting so fancy with that hanging the leg off technique that they're doing now to slow them down more and get their weight over. It's like you said, they're not really even sitting down anymore. They're just kind of hovering around it.
Yeah, well, they're at like what, a 70-degree lean angle or some shit like that.
Oh yeah, it's dumb.
Fucking ridiculous.
So one of the other ones, the road hazards. Now, a lot of folks don't realize or don't even know what the hand symbol or sign or whatever for a road hazard.
Don't ask my mom.
Your mom knows all of them.
No, don't ask my mom.
All the gang signs.
Especially not in a bad neighborhood. Don't ask her to show you.
So if you see a small hazard, you point at it with either your right foot or your left hand. People would then look for the obstacle or the object in the road. If someone does one of these numbers, like they're trying to do the robot, but they're doing it fast, that means that there's a hazard across the entire road or the entire lane. Now, I don't know how many times we've explained this to people and they still don't get it. And head tap, like one of these.
Heads up. Yeah.
That's 5-0. So, but no, it's understanding that the road hazards are there and that your bike is capable of handling those road hazards. I've talked about him before, but Crazy Ed Edwards up in the Dallas area, he has proven time and time before that you can roll over stuff at speed. I've seen him hit a 4x4
Whew,
at highway speeds.
that'd be rough.
It sometimes you don't have a choice. Now
Oh,
he and
yeah.
I were riding club style, so we were side by side and we were hot dogging it. You know, I was just lucky enough to see it ahead of time and I backed off. He hit it and I went around. But
Almost like the ride on Father's Day. We had fucking trees in the road.
yeah, I wasn't at that ride. But yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
right, you weren't there. No, not the Father's Day ride. The birth announcement ride.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the damn fucking tree branches in the road that fell out of a truck.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, hazard road.
Hazard.
That's all. Yeah,
You can always tell the difference between hazard.
hazard left.
I would say road hazards are my those are the things I worry about the most outside of texting drivers and things like that. Because I'm so afraid I'm gonna be going down like 35 one day and all of a sudden like a mattress is just gonna appear in the middle of the road.
Right through it.
I feel like I could do a 4x4 a mattress scares me.
No, so what scares me in San Antonio the most, as far when it comes to road hazards,
Ladders. Anywhere you have a lot of construction, that's the scariest shit ever.
Thousands of dollars worth of ladders are killed each year in San Antonio on the highways. And honestly, I don't worry about hitting deer really, or if I'm on the highway, it's just fucking ladders, just fucking coming out of nowhere, ladders.
Yeah, it's. We know Justin. His biggest fear is a horse, a big buff horse running at him with snakes as the riders. That would mess his world up.
You'd be fucking ruined.
That would burn up the internet.
I'm just thinking of like a person that I'm really scared of because I'm picturing like a horse running towards me using snakes as the reins. And then
or like a Medusa hat with live snakes coming off.
Like RuPaul riding on the back of it, like that.
No, it'd be a snake, and its mane and tail would be snake. It's a horse with its mane and tail are snakes.
Oh God, that's even worse.
And then a snake as its tongue. There you go. See, fucking.
Oh man.
But yeah, so down here
with its tongue split.
Yeah, forked. Seichi surgeon style, but yeah, someone else brought up another comment. DUIs, it's a stereotype, but it's statistically accurate. More DUIs happen in the southern United States than anywhere else in the country, and I did look it up. Texas is in the top 3 for the most motorcycle related deaths per year.
Hell yeah, go big, go home.
Well, I mean.
And it's funny too. In like 2017, according to the National Highway Safety blah 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 administration, the spread between the first place, which was Florida, and third place, which was Texas, was like 60 deaths.
Oh, so is this per capita?
No, total. Yeah.
I mean, well, Texas is huge. California is huge.
But there's also more registered riders in those areas, so you're higher likelihood of accidents. But the gap, which the fourth place was like Pennsylvania, which I guess they have a lot of issues too, but it was like 190 death difference. It was insane. So if you look at it, though, Southern California, a lot of accidents happen. You also have Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, and then the entire Gulf Coast. A lot of DUIs are happening there. And it's also the drunks who are on their motorcycles. A lot of articles were talking about the drunk rider.
Oh, well, I mean, Justin and I down in Galveston for the rally. My God. Of course, there's thousands of bikes everywhere. You see everyone pulling in and parking. And oddly enough, I mean, I know I did, but I kept seeing the same people over and over and over again. And yeah, they're all fucking hammered, and then they hop on their bikes with their chick on the back or whatever, and take off. Like, let's go ride the fucking coast.
Yeah. Or, you know, here in the hill country, they go to Lukenbach, get tanked, or let's be realistic here. They may not even go out there trying to drink a lot, but it's summertime in South Texas. And yeah, you're riding and it's a great breeze hitting you at 70 miles an hour and you're sweating and it feels fine. But you go and have 3 or 4 beers, which would normally probably have zero effect, but now you have no water in your system and you're getting drunk faster. So
I don't drink period when I'm on the bike at all. Because I know you can go from okay to not okay that quick.
You know, I mean, I've gone on a couple rides where I'll have a beer, like with our meal. But usually by the end of the day, I feel like such shit.
Yeah.
Because I'm getting dehydrated and I don't even bother anymore.
hey, Ken, you're getting called out, son. I love Uncle Ken, but he needs a better camera.
Hey, I tell you what, you go ahead and you can PayPal me some money, and I'll go buy a camera. I'll need at least $60.
Oh man!
We'll put a GoFundMe for Uncle Ken's camera fund.
Yeah,
there we go. But no, so for the closing argument, and I know you guys barely looked at the notes, so I didn't even put it in there. What is the scariest near incident or incident you've been in on your bike?
Oh, I already told my story.
I got mine on camera.
Huh?
I said I got mine on camera.
Oh, you hitting me? Come on.
No.
Oh, okay.
That was the most frightening because it was sudden. The other time, I can't remember the title of the video, but it's definitely on my channel. It was on Highway 16. It's right in the grinder portion. And it's when you come over, you kind of have a tight right hand, come over the hill, and there's immediate off camber 90-degree left hand turn going down the hill.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the first time that I took that, I was actually with Connor FXDB and some of his buddies. And me and one of his buddies on a Sportster were the only two that were riding that portion fast. And we took off about when you cross that low water crossing. Mm-hmm. So we took off, and I mean, we were just on each other's ass. I'd pass him, he'd pass me. And I was under the impression that he knew the road, and he was under the impression that I knew the road. So
it's the blind leading the blind.
Exactly. So we come over that hill probably about 50 to 60 miles an hour. And for those of you who don't know the area, you've got about, what would you say, about 20, 30 yards before you're at the guardrail?
Yeah. That.
So we come over the top of the hill, and I see him just white smoke his tires and go into almost like a 45-degree lock. And I look up and I see why, and I do the exact same thing. And thankfully, both of us saved it almost exactly the same. But that was by far the closest I have come to thinking like, okay, this is where I go down.
Fair enough. Yeah. So did Justin just say grinder? Motorcycle Mick doesn't know how to spell.
He doesn't, but
he does though.
I think it got him excited.
Is this something you know about, Ken? Help us understand. What is grinder without the E?
Grinder's a dating app.
Oh, what kind of dating app?
I'm pretty sure it's a gay dating app.
Like homosexual gay or just a really shitty one?
Like the homosexual kind.
Okay.
As in dudes who want to blow dudes.
Yeah. And I think it's specifically for dudes, not lesbian women or anything like that.
Oh, okay. Okay. So the scariest accident I was in was the first one I ever had.
Was it the one where your wife tried to kill you?
No.
Dan, you had one before that?
So this is the one. So my parents didn't know a road. And
Oh, okay. I remember this one.
so if anyone's familiar with Dallas, Fort Worth, there's a highway called LBJ or 635. And it's a semi loop. And during the time, this is before they had the high five mix master there. They just had a normal, here's 635 coming on to 75, just the standard ramps. And I don't know if this helped or what, maybe just imprinted Dodge in my brain for life, but I was hauling ass, 75, 80 miles an hour coming into this area, and this Dodge Ram dually, big old honking 3500, one of those city dualies that are really tall, big wheels and tires, but have never seen mud. And he just came over and bloop, knocked my ass over. And I didn't even see him. So again, part of this was my fault for not paying attention. I was not even looking at that ramp. I was 17. I went down hard. Bike went 50 yards or so. I went about 100 yards or so. Now, I was scared to death of my mom. And
Which is reasonable.
At the time, she was 6 foot, 380, big woman. And she had no problems throwing down. She would throw a fist quick. Loved her for that. But I was scared shitless that she was going to find out that I'd been riding. So I begged the helicopter pilot that was airlifting me to Parkland Hospital not to call my parents. And luckily, I still had my ID on me to show that I was 17. Therefore, they didn't have to call my parents. But scariest one ever. Not the accident itself. I came out with just a couple bruises, but the fact that my mom was going to find out.
Oh, yeah. I'd rather go to jail than face my dad. Yeah.
You got life-flighted for a couple bruises?
Huh? No, I went down because at that time, all motorcycle accidents where you hit the ground hard like that, they care flighted you. There was only one level 1 or whatever trauma center. So, yeah.
But that was fun.
Yeah. But I'm telling you,
expensive.
The full suit, totally worth it. And again, I only wore it because I didn't want my parents to find out. But I still got busted when the insurance company called and was looking for John. And it turned out to be my dad that answered and not me. Hence why Johnny. But yeah, I got found out.
Nice.
But yeah, that was the scariest one. I had a couple close calls in the Middle East. But I think I became a better rider because I rode a lot in the Middle East.
And it's terrible over there. Yeah.
It's, yeah. The most damage to me was, and Brandon actually is asking for it, the Bahrain accident. This is what got me my first Harley. It's a very, very important accident for me. I was getting onto the highway I was on the highway. A Suburban was getting onto the highway, and for some reason he stops and I'm at speed. I go through the back window of the Suburban into the back seat, get out of the car. I do the pat down, make sure all my junk is still where it's supposed to be and I don't have any blood coming out. My arm was hurting real bad. And I see this guy get out of the car. And as soon as I took my helmet off, this very dark-skinned Arab man turned whiter than Justin in the winter. And
that's white.
He knew for a fact that I was military. So he knew he couldn't win that court case. And this is how persuasive money can be. He said, let me buy your motorcycle from you in cash. And so I gave him some stupid number. I was like, well, you're going to have to give me 4,000 dinars. he then hands me 4,000 dinars in cash. So at the time with the exchange rate, that was just shy of 10,000 US dollars for a bike that this was my Gixxer. So it had already been totaled once. I bought the thing for $1,300 to begin with. It had been totaled from the truck accident. I got $5,000 payout for that. And now he just gave me $8,000. So I had him take me to the Harley shop, and I put 4,000 dinars down on, almost 10,000 down on my $12,000 Softail Standard. But awesome accident. And I did actually find out later that I'd broke my arm. My forearm had a fracture in it. But yeah, that's what got me my first Harley.
Yeah. Well, I told my story, was it last week before? It was where a car came. I was on the access road of 1604 and had a car pull out from a side street. I was doing 45 and ended up jumping the median. Well, jumping the ditch to the entrance ramp to 1604. That was exciting. Airborne on a full-blown bagger is exciting.
Send it.
Oh, I fucking sent it, and I landed it too. Fucking hell, was I terrified. And then I called Faith because I was actually going to see her. I was like, because I had found the first safe place to fucking pull over and check my underwear. And I called her and I was like, just so you know, I'm okay. But holy shit, this is what just happened.
So I do my best not to tell my wife of stuff like that unless I have to. Like the lady who backed into me at work when I was on my bike, and all of Charlotte Mecklenburg police and fire and all that stupid shit happened. I was like, I'm fine. And they made me go to the hospital in the ambulance, but it's one of those where I had to tell my wife because she was going to have to come pick me up. And I thought real close. I was like, do I call Zach instead? I was like, wait, no. If I call Zach, I know for a fact he's going to tell Tracy. And then Tracy's going to be like, why didn't you call me first? So I went ahead and, did the risk assessment in my head of, okay, do I call her or do I just go and then just get an Uber home or something? But no, I called her. I was like, so here's what happened. I'm fine, but, and then she met me at the hospital.
I need a ride.
But yeah, it's one of those things where I don't know. And it's hard too, like with us, with the OGs, with everyone, well, except for Brad, because he's perpetually single. But if one of us goes down and we say to each other, don't tell our wife, what's the statute of limitations on that?
Yeah, hey, I ain't saying shit, man.
Well, I'm just curious because we all have enough attitude from the wives that they will pester the shit out of us to get information if they have to.
I'd say 6 months.
They'll only pester if they have an idea that something happened, though.
Yeah.
Which you've met my wife. She seems to always know when something has happened.
That's because you're a bad liar.
You're a terrible liar, by the way.
This is why I don't cheat. That and I can't afford that.
So, I mean, it's like our OG chat. I'll be sitting there and we'll be chatting and I'll be laughing and what are y'all talking about? We're just talking with the guys. She's like, "Oh, you're in the OG chat group. We're not in there. We can't see what's going on." You're right.
But the girls have their own chat room, and they can do their thing. Guys have to have our method of gossip. It's just how it is.
That's fair.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's, NSFW in our stuff in our chat, not safe for wife.
Yeah.
And, some of the stuff, though, I will take out of the chat and put it on my phone and show her because it is that funny. Most of the time it's coming from you, and it usually has something to do with a massive dong that's getting put onto someone's bike. But
it happens.
It's funny. Some of that stuff is just funny. But
There is some stuff that I would be proud of, though, that happens in the OG group. Like, for example, I have a Dirt Bros group just for Hasso and Brad. That way I don't pester you guys when we talk about going and doing dirt stuff. And I found out a way to where both of them can get new bikes and the wife won't find out about it. So,
see, that's awesome.
I was pretty excited about that. Idea.
But just so you guys know, the bro code only lasts within the bros. Tracy's in this chat, so she's been watching this live stream. I can actually hear her downstairs. Big shout out to Shure microphones, because this thing is damn good for not picking up her.
Oh, I already heard her cackling in the back.
Well, some noises you cannot filter out.
No.
But
Faith cackling.
Yeah.
Faith laughing.
Faith talking.
Yeah. We compared Faith to the starfish from Finding Nemo, the one that's all excited when they're going to escape. That's Faith's personality if you've never met her.
Yeah.
She's the most positive, loud person. I was going to see if I could caveat it, but
that was bad.
She is definitely one of the loudest persons. But you know something? I love it. Good for her. It's, at first people get embarrassed. Oh, she's talking real loud in the restaurant. Who cares?
Welcome.
Sure.
The way I look at it, if someone had the balls to come to that table and tell all of us that, hey, you need to quiet your woman down, I would have to get the phone out quickly to watch that.
Well, we would have to be quiet because we would be asked to leave, because then I would be very loud. And that's why we would have to leave and it would get quiet.
I love it when people look. That's
yes.
Because they look, and if we're all standing up, you can see the quick size up that they do, and they're like, "Yep, nope."
Yeah.
I also like embarrassed the fuck out of Justin as well. So,
but at the end of the day, that's kind of our job. Is how good can we embarrass Justin? I mean, who would have thought that we could have gotten Justin as pale as we did just by talking to Shade Tree about how he forked his tongue?
I don't do self surgery shit. Like like if he would have told me that, talking about like how he did it at like a tattoo shop or something, no fucking problem. But the fact that he was doing it like at home with the same blade that we like cut decals with, no.
Yeah, it can be done.
But you know how sharp those blades are.
Oh, I know.
You cut decals with them, so
I've endured many a cuts from them, but
yeah,
just feeling that on my tongue.
Okay, so before we wrap this up, I put something out in the community asking about y'all's favorite. What did I call it? I think kind of your bike security device. So if you're listening, head over to the community tab, put in your vote. It's a poll. I am going to be doing a video here shortly about these and talking about some of the security measures you can take to protect your bike when you're not on it. But until we all meet again, I'm Johnny Roblox. Thanks for tuning in. Take care.